Hello, hello. This is Michaela for Oye Dimelo. Today I'm with JP Saruno, Don Dino, and Steve. And Jason's going to be here for a little while. This week we are supposed to talk about the film The Red Shoes. Except Dino is still watching the film as we speak, and Jason didn't get a full opportunity to watch it, so we're gonna figure that out today. All right. So I guess we can go ahead and start with the people who's watched it, first impressions, and I'll figure out the talking points from there, I guess, because yeah, changes what I thought we were going to talk about today. So yeah, I'll go ahead and start. I really liked this film. I'm really, really glad I watched it. I think it's now part of my top 5. It's probably one of the most beautiful films I've ever seen, and yeah.
When you say it's one of your top 5, do you mean all time? This makes one of your all-time top 5
all
list?
time 5. Like it's been a while since I've gotten lost in a film the way I got lost in this one last night. So
Was this your first viewing last night?
yeah, it was. It was my first time seeing it.
All right, what made you choose this film for Cinema Club?
Well, I've seen it in a lot of the directors I respect talk about it a lot. And it's just like one of those films who are like, well, if you really, really love film, you should definitely see this one. And so I kept putting it off, and so I figured that it was the right time to bring it up.
Awesome. Well, since I only saw the first maybe 5 minutes of this thing, I'm just going to give my first impression. My first impression is I'm like, okay, so this is a ballet musical type of situation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's like a whole lot of dialogue or anything because I didn't get that far into the film. The music sounded terrific though. And at first I was like, oh, it's going to be a whole movie with just like music in it because there's like a lot of music without like looks or whatever. Also, it's kind of beautiful that the film is filmed in color. You know, when I saw the film was from 1948, I assumed it was going to be a black and white movie, but it's in color, and it's pretty interesting color too, actually. But it
Mm-hmm.
also sort of looks like a 1940, 1950s film. You know, not even 1950s. It looks like a 48 film, and there's not a whole lot of films in 48 that I could think of that are like full on color.
Yeah, no, like this is such a beautiful rarity, and they just what's the word when they like revamped
Remaster.
they restored it recently.
Hmm.
They restored it, and like honestly, this is such an interesting piece just because of when it was made, and the way that the way it was made is just like some of the stuff they managed to capture. I just think is absolutely stunning for the time. So, what did you think, JP?
I'm not. I digged it. It's definitely old Hollywood. Like even the story is very.
Here's the crazy thing: it's not even a Hollywood film.
Well, no,
Yeah,
it's a
it didn't feel like
Hollywood.
Hollywood. The little bit I saw.
It's British though.
Yeah. It's Pinewood Studios, the same place where they filmed Star Wars. But yeah, but like it's still like it's an old movie, and I got that vibe. I was surprised at how many special effects shots were in this movie. Again, it's old, so it's not like on par with like the crazy shit that we have now. But like for back in the day, like I don't know if the restoration made it look better, but if it wasn't the restoration, it mostly aged pretty well. Um, the special effects and the lighting and whatnot. I was surprised at how deep the color looked.
God! Oh my God! I think I just got the part that Michaela said. I think.
Yeah, like that's what I was trying to tell
Right.
you. You are like at the best part.
This is wild. Anyway, go on and then come back to me.
But yeah, no, like I'm pretty sure the part that Dino's at is actually the part of the movie that was kind of uh, complimenting on, like just the amount of like kind of There's a lot of cool editing, a lot of cool movie making tricks
Mm-hmm.
in this film.
Didn't even
But
think
I
about
guess
that.
like I wasn't a big fan of the story. I wasn't a big fan of the ending, which is weird because I thought I would have liked how it ended. But it's cheeky, it's cute, but I have to remind myself like, oh, it's old. It only seems cliche because they were probably the first ones to do it, and then everyone decided to copy them. So like I could see why it's revered. It's beautiful, and for the time, like they did some amazing shots that still hold up today. Which even films from like 5 years ago, it's like wow, I'm never gonna revisit that
This is
shot.
blowing my mind. This is blowing my mind. I'm not kidding. Like yeah, what the fact that this is 1948. Yeah, I'll just say that. Anyway, go
Yeah,
back to you.
Yeah.
that 10-minute sequence that Dina's talking about is probably like
That's what the movie is.
That's
Is
the-
that 10-minute sequence?
that's the saving grace of the film, and that's the only part of the film that I was like really like wowed by, which is all right. I like again, I wasn't a fan of the story, but like literally that scene it makes the movie, so I think it makes up for my opinion of a lackluster story. But anywho, who else? I guess Des, right? Or
Yeah, Steve.
Yeah. So my first impressions of the film was like, oh my god, a PowerPoint because there was lights of the credits. Um, and no, actually, the movie, just like Michaela said, and kind of like what JP mentioned as well, this movie is very enjoyable, and there were many moments that like grabbed my attention throughout the movie. Even at the very beginning, when like all those people are coming into like the theater and they're moving in like this cohesive like chaotic unit in a way, like even that grabbed my attention when they were doing things behind the scenes as far as like practicing and getting ready to have the actual like rehearsals and things like that. Like those things caught my eye because I remember back in the day when I was doing a lot of theater, and it got me to those days when they were in France and they were showing just a little bit of the scenery around. That got a lot of my attention, and of course, like the red shoes and the costumes and the color, something that Jason mentioned, was really, really good. Again, I don't know if it's part of the restoration. I don't know if it was shown completely this way, but it really holds up the movie in general. Yeah, like JP said, the story in a certain way, like at least like the main character, like her journey. Yeah, I there's things, of course, like you wish would have been like fleshed out more to like really kind of build that yellow brick road towards her way to stardom and stuff. But at least the way it was presented and the way they play with like the editing, that again also shocked me from 1948 to have like certain scenes that were like, oh, they can do that back in the day. Okay. It was really cool. So I really enjoy this film. The music is great in this film. And of course, and that's something that I'm sure we're more than likely going to touch later. I'm glad that I got to see that Black Swan part too, because I did watch the movie back in the day in theaters. So yeah, those are my first impressions.
I am gonna say one thing. I did like because we have reviewed films where it does have kind of a rags to riches type of story where we do see this ingenue or the hero go through a journey where they think they're gonna succeed but not necessarily. Um, I wish that how Mahogany ended. This is gonna be slight spoilers for Dino since he's still watching the movie. How Mahogany ended, I wish that was this movie, and how this movie ended. That's the ending that Mahogany deserved. So, but that's just my opinion. That's just me.
No, it's just like it's so interesting to me because like I think that this is definitely more of a filmmaker's film than like an actual story, and that's what I think is so interesting about it.
Yeah.
Because like this is such a technical film.
Yeah.
Like that's how I would put it. And like I think what was the point I was trying to make here? But like, it's just like, it's very interesting that like the thing that bothered you most was the story, when it's just like, I was willing to forgive that all just because they were just playing with the medium in such a beautiful way that like I didn't really care about the characters. It's just like the fact that they were being able to tell a story within the story that was the same story. Like, it was like really just smartly done.
Yeah, no.
Like, it's such a smart film.
Like even like Alan, going back to like the story, like for me it was at times a bit too kind of cheeky and a bit too like, okay, this is definitely a melodrama. Like we're watching a melodrama within a melodrama. Who would have thunk it from a ballerina movie? That's a joke. I'm kidding.
No. Like, and here's the funny thing: is just like, while watching it, I thought it was so quotable. There were just like so many moments where the dialogue was just so sharp, but like I can't think of any examples now, which is like frustrating because I'm just like, wow, like what was like your guys' favorite like quote?
I don't know, for me, it's
and
just...
like I just can't remember any. So it's just like that's part of why it is, because like it's not like a quick tagline, but like you could kind of see like the inklings of that in the writing here too.
For me, it's purely visual, from like just the makeup, the sets, the use of like the train station several times. Even the shots of like the red shoes, which I kind of wished story-wise kind of played more importance. Not like a MacGuffin type of thing where it's like, oh, the shoes are important because of yada yada yada. But spoiling again, the shoes are kind of like referred to in the end. I kind of wish that they put more layers regarding the shoes, because it's a good. I didn't like the ending, but it was a good way to end the movie. I just wish there was more layers on that instead of like the drama between the characters that ends up like overtaking the third act.
But like it's literally the same fairy tale. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like the Leibowitz is the shoemaker. The prince that you see halfway through the ballet, that's the composer. I'm
just really glad that they didn't do the matchstick girl, because that's a fun ride.
Yeah.
You know, why does Hans Christian Andersen hate young women? Like Disney doesn't kill them, but he does.
Yeah, no. I think like that has to do with some like Freudian sexual preference thing.
That you are woman, therefore bad.
Not even.
Or cursed.
Yes. Yes. Because like his Hans Christian Andersen's heroines are never like, they just want to live their life the way they want to live it, and then they get punished for it. So it's
no, I am God. No.
No, but that's like what like society does to women.
Yeah.
You know, that's genuinely what it does. Like when you try to go for happiness as a woman in a confident and stunning way, the world has this ugly tendency to just snuff that out.
Yeah.
But like I also really enjoyed the tension that like this movie builds. You know, for like something that doesn't have a lot of like horror elements to it, there were like a couple shots that like really made my like heart skip a beat or two. Like especially with the director character, there was like a couple shots like at the birthday party where he's just like, and you're just like, oh no, someone's gonna die tonight.
I always find that weird when it comes to films about artists. Kind of like Whiplash, where it's like guys, it's just a band. Like calm yourself. But you know, not magic. Art is important to folks.
Well, I mean, like usually the greatest advice a writer gets is write what you know. Yeah. And so when we're all a bunch of theater kids,
trauma.
That's what we know. No, like and so that's why we have a lot of film about these things. Yeah. And a lot of them tend to be very heart-wrenching, dramatic pieces because we've all, as like people in this industry, have experienced that in one way or another. Like that rejection, that idea of like, if I can just get good enough, if I can just do my craft, like this is all I want.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a craft, and like these crafts tend to be very exclusive. You know, like for everyone who starts out, only like percent actually get to the level that we're all aspiring to become.
I just liked how in the beginning of the film it showed us that in order to be successful, just be a fucking asshole and bother people. Like,
Yeah,
look,
no.
look, I'm here at a party, not to audition. That was a good line.
Yes.
And then like
I'm the horror. That was one of the lines I
Yeah.
I need to start introducing myself that way.
There are a lot of great lines. I'll give my quick first impression is I thought it was going to be like special just because, again, 1948, the color, and then starting where it started, it's not Hollywood. It's not old Hollywood, because old Hollywood doesn't. This seemed like it was going to be the underbelly of the theater world or music industry. Because from the get-go, like the first 5 minutes, they're talking about kind of like couch auditions, basically open about that kind of stuff. They're also open about plagiarizing other people's work. So like. And then, he recognizes that. So the guy who wrote the orchestra runs and tries to rip the letter. And then the guy who stole it is even like, hey, what was the line? It's about what's harder, that they steal your stuff or that you let your stuff be stolen? Something like that.
Yeah, it was I know exactly what part. He said, what do you think is harder? I think it's harder for the fool who has to steal than the fool who is stolen from.
Okay,
because like it implies that like if you're a genius enough to have people notice and steal from you, like you can always create more. Whereas that individual can never tap into that. And so they felt that desperation to try to pretend that they have that X factor, which is like what we were talking about earlier with like how like with our industries, there's always that element to it. Like if you're not good enough, like you always have to pretend that you're good enough.
Gotcha. I actually thought that line was more in relation to like kind of like a beggar stealing like a loaf of bread.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, no, fuck your face. That's not a loaf of bread. That's how I took that quote. It was like, man, fuck off. Fuck off with your theater.
So I thought it was going to be more simplistic, but with actual depth that you don't necessarily see in your typical Hollywood movies from that time period. But then it delved into more, right? Because you have kind of the little love triangle, this and that kind of thing. Then the older ballerina, like the kind of like star, and it's going to step away because she's getting married. And it's like, how dare you? And there was something also along the way that was kind of like, just remember, if you're married and happy, you'll never be a good star, or something like that is also the line of just like, to truly be an artist, you can't be happy, is basically what it was. So all that, I was like, oh man, it's really going into depth. And then when they actually show this production, it was great, again, because of I started noticing just a little bit of like movie magic of just like her about to lace up her shoes, or them just placing the shoes and she like steps in it and it just like, and it gets laced up. And I'm like, okay, that's a nice little camera trick. And then it just keeps going. I'm like, okay, that's another camera trick. That's cool.
Wait. You think that's movie magic? That was like Hamilton. That was live.
Oh, wow.
She just did that, guys.
But yeah, so I can totally see how you were saying, Michaela, that a lot of movie people or creators have talked about this. Because I even saw a little bit of American Beauty, like when the wind is blowing.
Oh yeah, that newspaper sequence is so gorgeous.
And then there's the paper. And yeah, so there's a little bit of everything, kind of like marionette work and like inanimate objects like coming to life and turning. And it's interesting because right before, and of course I've just kind of started watching, but right before they show and the movie kind of, the ballet kind of opens up into this magical world. Right before that happens, they actually like, it's a pity this is only a 300 seat theater, because we could have had whatever theater that has thousands and thousands of people And then the guy's like, well, the whole world is going to be talking about this tomorrow. And the fact that they mentioned the 300-person theater once it starts and it just keeps going and like keeps changing movement and all that, I was like, oh yeah, it's great that they mention how small the theater is, because it just shows you how like it completely gets engulfed. And then, and maybe someone out there, if you can write a comment down below, who or when has there ever been like a dancer's point of view on stage? Because it happened multiple times, but specifically when the ghouls or whatever are coming at her and she's like, but it's from her shot. It's her point of view. In 1948, you don't just do that kind of like with a handheld or whatever. And it has to be such quick edits. And it's so they were doing, which you also think like, oh, this is going to be shot like Hamilton. It's only going to really be able to use 3 different shots. And it's no, they got cameras up every nook and cranny in different angles. Like it was, that whole thing alone is like the price of admission. And yeah, this is one of the movies now that I feel like if I see it, that it might be playing in a movie theater, whether the Vista or New Beverly or somewhere on screen. The colors are just amazing. It's like it pops. There's so much pop to the color, and it's like a color palette that we aren't used to, right? That we didn't grow up with, that we look back and we can kind of notice, like, due to the film grading and all that kind of stuff, you don't see anymore. So seeing something from that time period use colors so well is magnifique, as someone said in the movie at some point.
Really, yeah, no. I also really enjoy, like, I think what really made me fall in love with this, though, was just how intimate the theater group was. Like, I believe that they're a theater troupe. Not like a bunch of people pretending to be a theater troupe. No, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do.
Because, like, how many arguments like that have we, like, participated in on, like, our, like, personal lives?
Like, in one of the first scenes where we see them together, where I think his name is Caster.
Mm-hmm.
Just asking, like, oh, who's in charge? And, like, almost no one knows who's in charge. Then one of the stagehands is like, I don't know, 8 people back there think that they're in charge, guy. You could ask them.
I mean, we've seen that in so many different like movies or anything, and like a guy is doing like basically yoga, whatever, you like stand on your head. It's like, hey, who's in charge? And it's like, why are you gonna ask the guy that's on his fucking head? Like, why are you gonna bother him? But I'm glad you brought.
Line, though. Like he says, in charge of what? He's like, yeah, no, that's hands actually.
That was the right question.
So I'm glad you mentioned that it really felt like a troupe or whatever. And I'm sure we've all been in kind of independent productions or even brand new, worked ones. And so much for me was just kind of like, not just from in college when we would kind of have to like write and compose our own musicals, it was part of our homecoming tradition thing. Mm-hmm. So like all that of just like staying up, everyone meeting in a house, and we try to do it in secret and like play this, no, that's wrong, and playing around with that. And then on a later note, once I started working at La Jolla Playhouse and I was building scenery, and it's similar of people bringing like, do this, and then the old man is just like, we can't close the door won't close. And that's just like, gotta be, I've been that also when it's like, one thing needs to be done backstage or like on stage, but behind a scenery, and we can't. Like, there's no one. And I've been the guy just with like, just pulling a, flipping a switch, just like behind the scenery, just like, all right, and it's time, and it's time, and it's time, and it's time. So I think I broke the light. No, there we go. But anyway, yeah. So that was one thing that I also noticed that I was like, oh, that's super cool. They're showing little kind of, and again, kind of just going with other movies now might be doing it, but back then I don't think they were showing these kind of parts of the movie, right? The only one I can think of is
Sorry, I was just saying, like, even now I can't think of like a single like music theater-y show that has that kind of intimacy. Like, they're too busy like focusing on the main character getting to fame to the point, or like a rivalry. You know, like that was another thing that really struck me was the like how they treated both ballerinas. You know, like they didn't ever pit them against each other in a way. Like, I mean, kind of, but never in like they never participated in an antagonistic way.
Isn't there an actual like Hollywood movie like something about Eve?
Yeah,
that's the one.
Yeah,
No,
and the dynamic that like the women have.
Yeah.
You know, but where in this one it was just like, no, like this is Irina's worked her way up to the top. She decided to like get on with her life.
Yeah, as soon as she got hit, she got ditched, motherfucker.
But like even then, like when she comes back, like it, like everyone.
Not at that part yet.
Oh.
No, I'm at that part. But what I would say is, you know what the closest movie to this has been that I think that has gotten the close Showgirls.
Okay.
That's the Eddie.
Like I feel Showgirls took a lot from this movie.
Well, I can tell you this: their dancing is way better here than Showgirls.
That's in the eye of the beholder. You know.
I don't know, Des. I don't know. I saw the movie too, and them folks look like they were barely on them toes.
Yeah, but like, and that's another thing too is the dance. Like the dancing in this film is superb.
Yep.
Like
the training they were doing was real.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh.
Spoiler: the shoes are red because of all the blood that they bled from the. It's another Whiplash joke that I'm trying.
Well, where do you think Deadpool got the idea of wearing red so they didn't see you bleed? It's from the red shoes. Wear red shoes and people can't tell that your feet are bleeding.
Yeah, I think another thing I really wanted to talk about, like I'm really sad that Naomi missed this one just because the content was so good.
She's been missing some really good, like, I was even gonna go just the scenery, right? Because of my like background in like building sets. I was like, oh my god, those are some amazing sets. And then when I realized like I was like, how do they fit all that on the stage? And then I was like, oh yeah, movie magic. Because I was like, I was just thinking those transitions must be crazy. And then I'm like, oh okay. And like, how do they create a void that she's able to walk through, and the void turns into something else?
Yeah, in my experience watching it, is like if it wasn't a matte painting, it's because it's in her head. That's how she is seeing the scene, which is fine. It translates pretty well to film. But there was like a maze-like scene on the stage. It's like, okay, that's definitely all in her head. That would not make sense on stage, but it's pretty nonetheless.
But I feel like that's like a testament too, though. It's like because like since we're all really into film, I feel like it's sometimes really hard to just like get lost and get to the point where you're like, oh my god, how did they do that? And I had so many moments in this film.
Yeah.
You know, like where it's just like, yeah, if I like took a minute and thought about it, like, yeah, obviously this is what they did. But it's just so easy to just get lost in, and like I feel like films like that are just so rare, and that's why I'm like so like this is why I think this is one of my new top 5 films. Is because like I literally felt like a little kid watching a film. Like it was kind of like the first time you've ever seen Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
Like that's how I felt watching this film. And that's just such a treasured experience to like have nowadays. So yeah. And like the fact that Dino got lost into like that too is just kind of like I'm so happy about that.
Very nice.
Oh no, guys, there's drama coming up. There's jealousy.
Oh
Guys!
no, Dino, you're at the worst part of the movie.
No, this is, I mean, I thought it was going to be more of this, but they built so much up to it that it has more meaning.
You know, yeah, I would say I'll give the movie that, because I thought the whole drama and the love triangle thing was gonna happen way earlier. So by the time after the scene at the theater, I thought, oh, we're gonna drop that. That's not gonna happen. It's not that type of movie. But then they did. They brought it, and I was like, fuck, it is that type of movie.
I'm sorry.
Nah, it's okay. I mean, it's good. Like, don't get me wrong. It's a good story. I'm sure Dino's gonna love the ending because it makes sense. It's perfect. But at the same time, I hated it.
Don't you tell me what I'm gonna love and not love. You're like you're like the main character anyway. You're not my director.
Hey JP, how would you have rather the movie ended in a perfect world? Even though you say this was the perfect ending, I guess the perfect ending in your world, what would that look like?
Without spoiling it too much for Dino,
you can do it. I mean, that's fine. I have headphones.
There are characters that unfortunately, what's the word? Destiny has a weird way of giving people their comeuppance. I think this movie gave the comeuppance to the wrong people. That's my opinion on that.
But see, like, that just tells you how good this movie is. It's like the fact that you're just like, no, guys, they should have won. God. Like, I feel like that's like actually a testament to how good this is the fact that you were like genuinely cheer, because like that's something you're always talking about when you rate films.
Yeah, I like
have
it
someone
to cheer for, and like,
and you had that,
and there was no one in the movie who was like a grade A asshole until suddenly like other ambitions came to mind. It was like happiness was the villain in this movie.
Well, and it doesn't help that, like, but see, like, that's what makes it so good. It's like it starts off as just like this one thing, and then just because of one bad actor, like, or like one bad like apple in the punch, who just like gets obsessed with this idea and like becomes so possessive, it ruins it all for everybody.
True.
You know, and like. And it also is like made during a time when women really genuinely had to choose, like, is this the life you want or is this the life? Like, that wasn't something that was very well explored. Like, you were either the artiste and you were just going to stay single the rest of your life, or, you know?
Yes, we're talking about the 40s and the 50s, see?
Yeah, exactly.
That's true. I'll admit.
Which was part of it, and like that's a big plot point is that she ends up falling in love, and and that is something to consider. Like having affections towards someone does change the way you do your art.
True.
And don't forget, this is post-war. This movie comes out 3 years after the end of World War II.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that has anything to do with the film at all, but usually when you say that in a film review, like people like, yeah, that's true. Like minds were different. So I don't know. Well, I just said it.
Because, like, she's still very independent. Like, you know, it's very 40s in the writing and portrayal of the women. You know? Like, because, like, that's part of why, like, 40s movies, in my opinion, tend to be so good. Is, like, the women are so brilliant. Like, we have so many brilliant 40s actresses. And, like, I think that she definitely holds her chops up there with them. Like, she's gorgeous. She can hold her own against, like, most of her, like, male, you know? But so good, so good.
I have a question for him. Like, so when I was first watching this, even at the very beginning, is this kind of like a movie that in the gay community is pretty high up there? Because I feel like it would be. There's so much, whether it's kind of like voguing or, you know, like there's
Yeah.
so much kind of like at times like overacting and stuff like that, but not
When
like
it-
in a
when it-
cheesy way.
When it comes to footwear, they're not much into red shoes, more like kinky boots.
Derecha. No, like actually, I was gonna bring that up.
I
I was
love you,
gonna bring that
Michaela.
up next, actually, was like the fact that like there's just so much like underground gay culture in this that's just so delicious.
I don't know. It wasn't really underground. It
No,
was up
but
on
like
stage.
that's why it was delicious. That's why it was so good. Because like
Because they didn't hide it.
they didn't.
Yeah.
You know, especially during a time where you kind of had to, like, you didn't have that overcompensation that you saw a lot during that time and age, you know? And like I do genuine, like they're like the depictions of that are just it was so good. Like it must have been a revelation for so many people.
I was getting a lot of like Paris is Burning vibes from it, of just like the outfits and the colors and stuff like that. And also, oh shit, look at that sunglass he's got on. Woo! That's like that's Mugato's sunglasses going on right there. And it is the villain, if there is a villain in the movie. But also this movie's cravat galore. Like there's at least one. I mean, there could be a drink. Can we start a drinking game? Like if you see a cravat, you gotta take a shot, because I feel like you'd be drunk in the first 15 minutes of the movie.
Well, and that was like another thing too, is like not just the female costumes are incredible, but the way that the men are dressed are also just like amazing. Like the first scene where you see the bad guy in his like tarot card coat that he just lounges in. Like,
yeah.
What?
I wouldn't call him the bad guy, but he's definitely not the good guy. He's the ass of the movie. Yeah, no, now that you brought up them glasses, I was taken aback for a while. It's like, them glasses existed? You're wearing that to the train? You're awful.
And here I thought it was just like, you know what? I wish I had
Like,
that class.
Here is the, I mean, I know you can't see it, but like that right there, like that. Whew,
That's a moment. Iconic.
it's insane. It's ridiculous. It's amazing. Yeah, it's like so many, yeah, that's why I do miss, what's her face? We're just talking about that she wasn't, huh?
Naomi.
Yeah, Naomi, like, because it's not just the outfits, it's the sets. It's not just the sets. It's like like everything is its own character in this, which do not expect. Even from like the first 5 minutes, you kind of don't expect it. There's a little Amadeus in it as well, because there's all that talking while that original ballet is going on, and you know, kind of like gossiping and like, oh, they're playing your music. Is that your music? You know, like, so yeah, so many movies I feel have. I guess if you make a movie in the 40s, you can just be like, everything else took from us.
No, but like, Steve, what did you think about some of that?
Some of what?
Like the costumes and like the aesthetics.
Oh, so I was actually trying to get a picture of the dress that for me was my favorite. And that was when she is in Paris and she's getting called because she is going to be the lead coming up. And she had like this green dress.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's gonna wear that to a party. It's like, what kind of fucking party are you going to?
Like,
Yeah,
we don't do it the same anymore, guys.
Was she going
that
to
dress? I think that dress got stolen by Princess Fiona in Shrek.
I was like,
There we go.
You going to the Phantom of the Opera with that dress? She got a crown with that dress.
She wore a lot of crowns actually. She
did?
Yeah, because like the first party she had the pearl one, and it was like a navy number with like the white. And then, like, the one that Steve, I think, is talking about was, like, the blue pleated coat and the blue-green aqua glass. and with the purple underneath. That was like what made it. Sorry,
Where did she,
that was my favorite dress too. Does
she's a theater person. Where did she get the money to buy all them outfits?
her aunt's a duchess.
Oh, that's right. Her aunt's rich and loaded.
Yeah,
I forgot about
like that was like another thing too. It's just like everyone's kind of upper class.
Yeah.
But it was such a good movie. So I think that's all I really wanted to discuss.
Well, I'd also like to mention, I'm a sucker for redheads. So, I mean, there's that.
Redhead girl with freckles and shoes. Redhead girl.
Also, there's
go out of their way to hide her freckles. Like, there's some amazing shots where you can like see her.
They're supposed to be Russian. I mean, his name is Boris, and as the movie progresses, I feel like he turns more and more into a Bond villain. Because then he has the outfit
just wait till the end.
No, I know. Well, I'm getting there. But
You're
anyway,
your Bond villain.
Yeah, no, like Boris. Yeah.
I know.
Because he does ballet. That's what they do.
I don't expect you to dance. I expect you to die.
God damn it, GP. But yeah.
Also, this shot was beautiful. I think this shot was definitely done in a studio, though.
Yes.
I'll admit the amount of like matte paintings in this film. Like I'm sure because of the restoration, like it's more easier to tell what is a matte painting. They're pretty damn good. Like really detailed. Whoever did those backgrounds, like.
I believe the first one to do it was matte. That's why they're called matte paintings.
Thank you, Matt.
So
he lost out to some guy named Rug. You know? All right, Dino's joke was better. I'm sorry.
like every shot in this film, like it's just like you could just study like the intention behind it all is great.
Does he need a cane from all the people they had to walk on?
Probably. That's the exact reason for that.
He looks almost dead with all that makeup.
I was gonna say in that one, yeah, he definitely does.
Yeah. So I guess we can start with like final thoughts, and like Jason, you can say if like from listening to us talk about it, that would be something you'd be interested in watching more.
Yeah, definitely.
Go, GP. Why don't you go first?
Wait. Before we go into final thoughts, because there's a lot of things to pick up about this movie, but there's one thing for sure. Well, maybe two things that I definitely want to talk. One thing was about how in the theater, and it was shown, at least that I can remember, in the beginning of the movie, and then I guess during the Black Swan part of the movie, and it was about specific people looking at specific directions in the theater. So in the beginning, you have that lady, like passing the note.
Yeah.
And looking through her little glasses.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like that little hand just shows up, and people go applauding like crazy and all that stuff. And then in the Black Swan was the kiss, right? The kiss that he blows was the thing that made the guy like really mad, right?
Right.
So just those little moments add that little spice in the movie, and that's why you gotta like pay attention to all those little details.
Yeah, no, like the tension that they are able to build with like what feels like nothing in the like final like hour was just incredible. Because like I think that like I definitely felt that, especially with his character, like that intensity so many times where it's just like, man, this is a scary guy.
Yeah.
And then the projections of the people in the editing, that was meant to be from her point of view, or was okay.
There's a lot of it, like where it cuts to what's really on stage and what's actually in her mind. So there's a lot of that, but it was cool. It was nice.
Yeah, I like it so much. Well, okay, so was there anything else that anyone else had to bring up?
That's a no.
Okay, so final thoughts, JB?
I just got to the ending. Why? Why?
Really? Already?
Yeah.
I fast forward a little bit, but yeah.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about the ending.
Okay, we can talk about the ending.
Wait, like how far to the ending are you at? What's the last thing that you are looking at? What's the last frame?
Miss Page is on the able.
Oh my
To
god!
perform
You know what? You're gonna
tonight.
You guys are gonna hate me.
Talk about bad
The
acting.
other night.
I actually laughed really hard when it cut back to him because I wanted the movie to end as soon as we saw her jump.
Yeah.
I wanted the movie to end right then and there. So when it cut back to the theater and he tells everyone like she's not performing, and then you see the same ballet, but with her not in it, like I literally
that was so good.
I laughed harder again.
Yo, I seriously thought this was just me in the moment that the guy was gonna put on the shoes and do the ballet himself.
See, that would have been interesting.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be Arena coming out and doing the role
Mhm.
because she came back, but then when it was just blank, like I get it, it's nice, but I couldn't help but laugh. I was like, no, really?
I also
thought
thought when he was saying all that stuff at the end, he was gonna say everybody gets their money back.
Yeah.
No.
No, that
He
didn't
would,
happen.
he's
You know, for as good as all the makeup and all that, they could have gotten better blood. Just,
Yeah.
like, it looks that the blood is the same red they painted her shoes with.
But she got
Also, did she just slip? Did I miss that?
no. She
jumped.
jumped.
She jumped.
She jumped.
Okay, that's what I thought, and I was like, well, that's stupid.
She not only did she jump, but she got hit by a train. There should have been some missing limbs.
It was the 40s. They
She
couldn't
should
go that
not-
far.
She should not. One, she should not have been as intact as she was, and two, she should have been dead. She was dying, but she should have been straight up a corpse.
Also, is the jump justified? Because I still get confused of like,
I think it is because like she's literally torn between like her reason for living, dance, and the love of her life. She genuinely cannot have both. And the main guy even asks her, would he give up his music for you? And we all know the answer to that. No, he wouldn't.
But why
and she's really young too. So like when you get to the point where it's just like, do I choose between this or that? And and it also implies that maybe the red shoes could be cursed.
Yeah, because
which is kind of a fun element, I think.
Yeah. No, the shoes being cursed was also fun. I just wish that there would have been like a precursor to that, or like maybe a little hint that like, well, maybe something's up with the shoes, or give the shoes a bit more importance.
Yeah.
So I was like, really? Like the red shoes is the red shoes? Like that's what we're doing right now? It's great. I wish there was more.
I just thought it was in her head, like because like
Yeah.
she's about to perform this piece where like the whole idea is that like all she wants to do is dance, right?
Yeah.
And then like her dancing is like something that she keeps on going and going and going, but she stops. Then she stops being who she is, and like could you imagine like you just lost the love of your life? You're about to do this piece that is exactly what you're living through. So like, yeah, like so you see that dissonance, and so like maybe it's the shoes themselves, but I thought it was just her head being like just cracking in that moment.
I just also thought it was weird because like not once in the film did I see the casters saying at all like, no, you can't dance anymore. In fact, they bring up that she's still dancing, but she's just not as successful with the company.
Yeah.
you know, and you know that was their choice to leave the company because the guy's a grade A asshole and no one wants to work for a grade A asshole. So like, I thought it was so weird. It's like, where's the conflict? Like, no one's abandoning their dream. They're just not working for
like
Boris anymore.
She's just not dancing at the level that she wants to dance at.
Yeah.
You know, like when she was doing the Red Shoes, she was like a headliner. You know, like she wasn't just like in some small like theater. She was headlining across the world.
Yeah.
You know, and like with Boris, like in fact that's also part of like why this is a crazy dynamic, is that she gets to the point where she realizes that he's the only one who like understands the way dance, like for her, can be portrayed to the fullest potential, and she doesn't think she can find that with anybody else.
No.
Well, that's some of those toxic relationships also, right? That it's like can be part of work, right? Because not only does Caster, you know, when he tells Boris that they're in love or whatever, he's like, well, you're done here. And then Boris goes and tries to tell the choreographer, like, stop working on the new show. And the choreographer is finally like, fuck you. Like, I've been working my ass off on this new dance and all that. I'm done. So, like, everyone, like, called Boris's bluff, I guess, if you will, right? Because the whole thing Boris constantly kept doing was like, you either do it my way or you're out of here. And finally people are like, fine, I'm out. But then it is harder, right? It's like the devil you know versus the devil you don't. And so that became a whole other kind of underlying thing in that part. What I thought, and to the fact that they do the show without her at the end. There's when I was in college, someone was directing a 3-person show, and whoever one of the leads got sick, or got in the hospital. Something happened, and so the professor or whatever is like wanted the director to go in, and was like, yeah, just go in and do, you know, and he was like, fuck no, I'm not going in. So they did the show, and they did the pauses and everything for the other character's line. So it made it this really bizarre kind of experience of this show, because it's like, what was that, sister? And they would then react to it, but no one was saying the lines of the person that wasn't there. So it was this idea that goes to imagination, where as an audience member, you would be thinking like, are those characters crazy, or can they only see their sister? And that kind of has the whole Red Shoe thing, and the fact that when she first danced, we went into her imagination and how bigger it was. At the very end, when you just kind of see the spotlight, it's like, oh wow, there's so much foreshadowing, I feel like, throughout this whole show. And you could even say the safety curtain at the beginning, that you see the fire safety curtain, and at the end, it doesn't have a safety curtain.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm stretching that one a little bit, but yeah.
I just think, you know, for a film about theater, ain't these motherfuckers ever heard of an understudy?
No.
I think that that was like also to kind of resonate that she was the only one who was supposed to dance this role.
Yeah, because
real theater doesn't have understudies.
Some poor asshole said Hamlet.
I wish I would have walked out of some place.
So.
What did you say, Steve?
I said I wish I would have walked out of some place. See what they were gonna do.
Yeah.
Right.
So this was probably filmed in 1947 then, right? Or how long would the production have taken back then?
That's an excellent question.
Movie making probably took a lot longer back then than today.
Mm-hmm.
So like,
since they had to do it all by hand.
So even shorter, even closer to like right after the end of the war, then it's, you know, you got to think about the camera tricks or post editing, slicing, dicing, Yeah,
Yeah, it's really incredible. So,
pretty
all right.
pretty Magnus.
Definitely. So is that everything that we wanted to discuss, or does anyone have anything else?
Just to add to what Dino said, the filming took place in the beginning. Principal photography started June 1947. The
Wow.
shooting schedule ran approximately 15 weeks of a budget of 300,000 euros.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's
So chump change.
You as in euros, not the currency, but the extras. There was 3,000.
Oh, I heard Guidos. Like Guidos. So that to me is, and of course, but like when you can have that budget and that technology,
and that's
and
your
it still
result?
look and it looks good, and it's just like, I'm cool with CGI or whatever. Just don't do it for everything. And it's like, well, it's more expensive to film real, and it's like, no, you can play around with that. Anyway, that's my Dino tangent. Sidetrack of the night, I guess. Just
Well, after you guys,
whoa.
this your final thought?
Yes.
I think Dino
Oh,
was talking
because
Alabama.
in the Matrix.
Yeah, you're in the Matrix.
Dino's all frozen up.
Yeah, go ahead, Jason.
Oh, I started bad mouthing and technology is like, oh, you.
Yeah, we get it. We get it.
Okay.
So
All right, I'll
after
start my
listening
final
to-
thoughts then, and just say, go for it. There's a big lag.
No, did you want to start your final thought?
Well,
All right, great.
you said after listening, so, but yeah.
So after listening to everyone's final thought, this movie sounds intriguing. And it's already been recommended. So I'm going to watch it like right after we get out of this thing. And I'm actually kind of anxious to watch it because from what I saw, it looks pretty good, man. It seems like I was going to be drawn into this thing pretty quickly. So yeah, I can't wait to see it. And then I can't wait to see who I would perhaps recommend it to.
It is Scorsese's favorite film, or one of his favorite films.
Is that right?
Really? I would not. I get it, but at the same time, really, Martin? Really? This is your favorite movie? Really?
I can totally
It ain't
see that.
Hitchcock,
actually.
it's this? I mean, it's a good movie, but Marty.
But he's really into editing.
But the movie is kind of gritty too, though, isn't it?
It is.
I guess that's his fucking Hugo side showing.
Yeah.
That's what he likes.
So I guess I have one question then. Steve, what do you got for us next week?
Oh wait, I haven't even given my final thought.
I don't know if anyone really gave their final thought either.
No, I think Jason just did it, and he was like, "Let's just skip
I
everybody's."
thought
final
all that was your final thought.
No, that was
that was a sidebar.
That was Dino's frame by frame.
Yeah, that's Dino, Alabama's internet connection.
That internet, Steve is now frozen. Oh my. Yeah, we might need to just go into You Have next week. I think everyone agrees that it's a majestic movie.
Yes.
Yes. We second
So
that
you guys
motion.
are not going to give your final thought.
All right. So,
Well,
what was your question?
I
We kind of did.
Thumbs have like a hang. The second thumb has a hangnail because I don't love the movie as much as you guys. So my second thumb has a hangnail on it,
Okay.
and that hurts.
That's
But it's still a second thumb.
It's noted, JP.
So go ahead, Jason.
I lost my place. I don't know where we are anymore.
All right.
You got a question for Steve?
You got a question?
I already asked Steve the question.
So,
Next week. Why are you asking me? It's not me. It is JP.
Woo! Woo! It's my turn. I actually took a little inspiration from Dez's pick when he picked between two childhood favorites. So we're gonna pick between two of my childhood favorites as well, because I don't know how to read, and I love it when children go through absolute torture and misery. So one of our the two movies that we get to pick. Number one is Holes. That's our first movie to pick, and the second one is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Again, you already saw it?
Of course, yeah.
No, we didn't. We did not. It's not on the list.
Okay,
We may have voted against it.
that's probably what it is. That's probably what that actually is.
So number one, Holes. Number two, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Can you give me one line about holes?
They dig it. The holes. Okay, if I were to give it a
There's
long
the
line,
tagline.
holes. I'm not good at this. It's
I mean-
about instead of a juvenile, what's the word, like
Detention
center, the juvie camp happens to be all these poor preteen assholes digging all day. That's all they do. Do you know?
All right, are we ready to vote?
Yes.
I'm ready.
All right.
All
So
Let's do it.
one is Holes, two is Willy Wonka.
One is Holes, two is Willy Wonka.
Na
All
na
right.
na 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 na.
3, 2, 1.
Dos, tres, cuatro. And it looks like we're watching Holes twice. That's great. That's awesome. We get to watch Holes 2 times. Oh, we're watching Willy Wonka.
I thought it was another of your childhood days.
No, that's great. I like Gene Wilder.
I'm sorry, I couldn't you didn't give a good enough tagline for me to try and watch holes.
Bro, I
just
wouldn't watch
couldn't.
Holes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Holes is actually a legitimately good movie.
I like
It
Holes
is.
too.
It is.
It's
It's
a
good,
Shia
but-
LaBeouf's first movie.
It is a slow movie.
Yeah.
Oh.
It is.
You tried digging holes.
All right. Well.
Well,
cool.
for Michaela, JP, Jason Echoes, El Dondino, El Dondino's dad, and me, Steve Des TV. We'll catch you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.